The Toronto Raptors just signed a three-point sniper, and if you've been watching this Toronto Raptors Summer League team play, you're familiar with Jamison Battle and the silky smooth three-point shot he's put on display. He impressed Masai Ujiri and now has been given a contract which is going to lead to some serious decisions having to be made come the start of preseason, come training camp, come the time when the chopping block is on board, because Jamison Battle is proving that he is a guy that's going to have to make things tough on the Toronto Raptors decision makers beside Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, because regardless of all the other stuff, and we'll talk about his game, his strengths, weaknesses, that dude is a bona fide three-point sniper, and given his trajectory in college, his improvement on that end of the floor, it's very encouraging for his game moving forward. So we're going to dive into all of that in this video. Before we do, folks, again, if you're part of the 49% that hasn't hit the subscribe button just yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding this Toronto Raptors team entering the off season. But let's dive into it, because, folks, people have been calling it for it that have been watching the Summer League action, the Summer League games, because a guy wasn't really on anyone's radar. Jamison Battle was hyping some people up, and news has officially come out that he's getting recognized for his strong Summer League performance, as the Raptors have signed Jamison Battle, as suggested they should within, to an Exhibit 10 contract per a source. So can't battle for a spot bonus if he gets cut for and joins the 905. So this move doesn't guarantee that he will be on the Toronto Raptors roster, come the start of the season, come, when the games actually matter. He could get cut, get put on the 905, and then looked as a development piece. So likely he'll be within the Toronto Raptors ecosystem for at least the next year. But the way that he's been playing, especially as a relative unknown, to the average Toronto Raptors fan, played for Ohio State, apparently is notable in college basketball. As you guys know, I'm not super familiar with college basketball games and stuff like that, but Jamison Battle has really, really impressed a ton of people and has really been in his basketball journey, basketball career, on an upward trajectory. It's the reason why I'm pretty bullish in terms of his game and him as an actual prospect. But basically, he's a guy that, if you're not familiar, he's 23 years old, so played multiple years throughout his college career from Minnesota. He's 6'7", weighs 220. Small forward, can play that sort of small forward position, and his stats in college are pretty impressive. So basically, before we dive into his Summer League stats, in his final year with Ohio State, averaged 15 points per game, which is nice. But the number that really has me excited, really has me turning my head, is the 43% from the three-point line. 43%. Out there, not on some tiny attempts either, on 6 attempts per game. Now, that number fluctuated over the course of his college career, but in 35 games, in his senior season with Ohio State, that man was a sniper. And as I mentioned, right, if you were watching this guy play throughout Summer League, you're seeing how quick he gets that shot off, how fluid it is, even with a hand in his face. He's just knocking down some buttery shots, and frankly, they're going up. And it's a 2-game sample size. We'll take a look at the stats in both games, but they're just looking so crispy. It's not rattling around the rim and bouncing in. Those are perfectly pure jump shots that are going in for Jamison Battle. And let's basically take a look at his stats, what he's been able to put up in these types of games, for these Summer League games. And again, we've done some recaps on these Summer League games, so definitely keep it locked to Raptors Digest so you be up to date on all the Jamison Battle updates. But again, first game of Summer League, not preseason, only 14 minutes of action. The man had 12 points, knocking down both of his free throws, went 2 of 3 from the three-point line. And again, this is where we first saw that quick release, his game kind of going. Again, 1 rebound, 1 assist, isn't doing much out there beyond the sort of three-point shooting, but again, backed it up in his second game there, right, with a plus-minus 16 for the game, 11 points, 3 of 5 from the three-point line, 1 assist, 1 rebound, so, just doing his thing out there. A three-point sniper coming off the bench and doing his stuff, which, again, is a skill that the Toronto Raptors need. They need on their roster to really develop and grow this team in the right way. Now, what does this mean for this future with the team? Because we know he shoots the ball at a high percentage, did a high clip in college, and is doing it now at the, I don't want to say the NBA level, but close enough to the NBA level with a ton of NBA guys out there playing in the Summer League. But is this just one of those guys that's going to be at the end of the bench and then we just forget about him? You're Sam Deckers of the world, your Ishmael Wainwrights, your guys that get invited to camp, they hype everyone up, and then they just don't really go anywhere with this Toronto Raptors team. And That could be the case with Jamison Battle. And I'd make the argument that if you compare him to, a guy like JFL, right, Javon Freeman-Liberty, who has that roster spot, is fighting for those positions coming into camp, right? JFL is a better basketball player. All around, he's the guy that's closing the games for the Summer League team, and just, on the surface, is better at basketball. Better all-around scorer, a bit more of an athlete. Just JFL, was, I think it was all Summer League team last year, was third in the G League in scoring last season. So, if we're looking, head-to-head, basketball-wise, in a vacuum, JFL versus, a Jamison Battle, in terms of these dudes, I'm taking JFL straight up in a 1v1. However, that's not how these roster spots, how these things are generally picked. Positioning, expectations, the better fit, all these types of things are the things that Masai Ujiri is really going to be looking at in regards to making his decision with, that final roster spot in terms of things that are going on. And yes, as I just alluded to, JFL is a more well-rounded game. There's a lot of stuff going on in terms of his ability to play for this Raptors group. However, one of the big discussions, the big talking points this offseason has been, are just roster being overloaded with shooting guards. We have RJ Barrett. We have Bruce Brown on the roster who's going to get minutes. We have Ochai Agbaji, who's naturally a shooting guard. We just drafted Jakob Poeltl. We have Gradey Dick, who's naturally a shooting guard. And then right now, we have JFL. At the two-way spot, we have DJ Carton. There's a lot of guys that play that sort of off-ball position. And then, not to mention the point guard, in terms of Jamal Shed and Davion Mitchell, that can be regarded as more combo guards. Then we also have Immanuel Quickley, who's going to be the bona fide starter for this team. That's a ton of dudes that are going to be getting minutes, getting opportunities, getting some run at that shooting guard position, and are all guys that need the ball in their hands, with maybe exception of Gradey Dick, who can spot up shoot, but he's been driving a little bit more stuff as well. So positionally, JFL doesn't exactly fit the same way Gary Trent Jr. didn't. And now I'm shocked Gary Trent Jr. he left on the minimum contract, like a 1 year, $2.6 million deal. Crazy to me. But still, JFL, positionally, fit-wise, doesn't make as much of a sense as a guy like Jamison Battle, who's more of a forward, more of a catch-and-shoot, spot-up guy, and, again, provides a different skill set in a vacuum, right? You're starting your team in an NBA draft, a pickup game, whatever it is, you're probably going JFL 9 times out of 10. But Jamison's Battle is just quick three-point shot. The fact that he doesn't need the ball in his hands to really have an impact on the game, that's all factors to really look at as a guy that's coming into camp and having potential to make your Toronto Raptors roster. And yes, defensively, there are question marks from the eye test and watching this couple of Summer League games. He does get blown by a decent amount, so defense is something that has to factor in. And, we're not sure if Masai Ujiri is going to be making trades. Will Bruce Brown be on the roster? How will things really look? So maybe you just keep the best talent and then sort of go from there. And that's probably the best strategy to go for this Toronto Raptors group. But this decision is not going to be something that's easy for Masai Ujiri. It's going to be a walk in the park in terms of guaranteed battles getting cut and then throw to the 905 and stuff like that there. So definitely keep a close eye on these Summer League games. Who's impressing, who's performing well. Now the battle's going to be in training camp. Expect him to get a little bit more run, a few more touches, and stuff like that there. But let me know what you guys think about this signing for the Toronto Raptors. Definitely an interesting pickup. I'm intrigued. I'm happy he's getting that extended look, especially with how well he shot in college and during these Summer League games. But let me know what you guys think. You guys are the best to make this far again. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.